Yeah. We're going to do this the best way we can. One day at a time, one movement at a time, brick by brick. Let's continue to grind. Really appreciate you all. Yeah. Open up your heart to mind, Cowboy Nation. Yeah. Ain't no party like a cowboy party, cause a cowboy party don't stop. Ain't no party like a cowboy party. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Shout out to all of you all. Thank you all for tuning in. We're here live like 95, baby. Hey, we got the dub, and I understand that, hey, where has this team been for the last few weeks? It's been 3 weeks, and we've been on vacation, basically. You would have thought that the team went to Cabo, but this team showed up, and they was ready. From the start of the whistle, I really appreciate each and every last one of you all who stood up and still supported this team through thick and thin. Thank those who really called out for Jason Garrett, because I think that every inch of pressure is responsible for this game. I really do think that I think that, hey, when you look at everything from A to Z, when you really think about it, you can say, man, this coach really had his neck against the wall, right? Back against the wall. Joshua Whitlock, man, really appreciate you for the donation to help grow the nation, man. Thank those who support this thing, man. One day at a time, one movement at a time. And I promise you, I'm not going to stop this thing at all. You know, you guys going to be just one day looking at it, and y'all be like, look, man, I remember this guy from YouTube. I remember this guy from Facebook. Shout out to Gambino. Shout out to you, Thornton. Really appreciate you, Mandy. Really, really do. How does this win feel? Now that you can walk around with your Cowboys silver and blue on, you don't have to hear from the major media networks. You don't have to hear from your neighbor. You don't have to hear from the dog when you're walking down the street and it seems like the dog even talking about you. You don't have to hear from Tupac and Biggie. Now you can just hear from us. How about them Cowboys? Let's continue to grind, Cowboy Nation. Matter of fact, it's too crunk. Let's go. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey. Yes, Cowboy Nation. How do you guys feel about this thing, man? You guys know how this show goes. We'll be listening in to 105.3 The Fan. Give myself a little break and just listen to them have their thoughts and their opinions out there. We facing against those Eagles next week, so we'll be ready for them.
Quality of a team.
Oh, those are big. Those are big, and our ability to run the ball, our ability to make timely throws, and keep those drives alive was significant. Again, this game was going to be about controlling the line of scrimmage, the big guys up front, handing the ball to Zeke Elliott, and I thought those guys did a fantastic job. When Dak had opportunities to make throws, he and the tight ends and the receivers cashed in at timely moments to keep drives alive, and timely moments to cash in at the end of drives. So a good mix of run and pass, and really good drives, and those are important drives for you.
You mentioned it earlier with the Witten catch, but can you talk about that catch a little bit more, and also Sean Lee's performance and what those two guys kind of gave you today as far as?
Yeah, they're great football players, and they've been great football players for this franchise for a long time, and they're guys that we rely on to play at a very high level, and also to have a really positive impact on our team, and they do that every day. And they're ready for their opportunities, and they cash in on them. Witt was very productive early on in the ball game, caught a lot of different balls, and just made a hell of a play on that touchdown. I mean, Dak, had to drive the ball a little bit and kind of put it a little bit behind him, but Witt reaches back and makes the play and allows us to cash in on that drive, convert a third down and score a touchdown after we had a good drive, and that's big. That's big early on in the game. And then obviously we're up by a couple scores prior to the half, and then Sean makes that big time play. And Sean's been a ball guy ever since he's been here. He's made a number of those kinds of plays throughout his career, and if you think about both those guys, they represent everything you want in your organization, everything you want in terms of their preparation, their love of the game, their willingness to put team first, and then their performance and how much they love it and how much they care about it. And I think that was reflected in their performances today.
Driving to the stadium, did you know Sean, as you drove to the stadium today, did you know Sean was going to play?
We anticipate him being able to play, yes.
In the first half, how were you made aware of the controversy around the coin toss and the possibility you might be kicking off twice?
Yeah, Dak had told me that he used the word defer out there, so we felt like, we had a case there that they needed to kind of hear it. And then I actually was coming in to the locker room, and Aaron Andrews made me aware of it, that there was some audio that they were going to refer back to.
Talk about the job the offensive line did today. Just fantastic job.
Yeah, again, like we talked, the challenge is going to be up front. They have big-time players up front. That Aaron Donald's a hell of a football player. He's hard to block. And they have other guys. They have a number of guys that when they get in one-on-one situations, you see them win time and time again, week after week. So it was a challenge for us to block them in the running game. It was a challenge for us to protect, for Dak in the passing game. And our guys stepped up over and over and over again. I do think some of those long, sustained drives works to our benefit. I think we were able to wear them down a little bit. And again, the good mix of run and pass. I thought Kellen did a great job calling the game, getting everybody involved, and allowing us to be a physical offense. And then when we needed to make some plays in the passing game, we were able to do that.
Cloud Floyd, what's up, Joe? Shout out to you, Italy Joe and Will Steele.
And a lot of the defensive players echoed that. Can you talk about their performance today and just so starkly different from how they played in recent weeks?
I just thought it was outstanding. And the challenge for them was to stop the run. I don't know what the stats ended up being, but they weren't able to run the ball very well against us. And that was what we needed to do. And so much of it goes back to discipline and being fundamentally sound and being physical and sprinting to the ball and tackling, all the things you preach from day one. And guys just did a great job in their preparation, understanding that, did a great job carrying that preparation to the ball game. And so much of what most offenses do in the NFL comes off of what they do in the running game. However different ways teams run it these days, that's a big part of playing good offensive football. And we're able to take that away from them and make them a one-dimensional offense, and that certainly works to our advantage.
Jason, how big a momentum builder is this going into Philly next week now?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us to do is, like we do every week, learn from the game. Yeah. Obviously it was a good win for us, but there are plenty of things that we got to address and clean up as we go forward. You build on the good stuff, you clean up the other stuff, and you get your eyes forward and you get back to make it a one-day season on Monday. Let's have a great Monday tomorrow, and that's how we're going to prepare this week. It'll be a great challenge for us.
You guys seem to be a different team when you guys get a lead.
Shout out to you, Gambino.
First half, second half. It just seems you guys flow differently. Is that a fair assessment?
I don't know that I can make that generalization. One of the things we try to instill in our team is you have to try to play at a high level regardless of what the circumstances are. And whether you're ahead, behind, the score's tied, home, away, whatever the circumstances are, you have to strive to play at a high level. So that's certainly what we try to do. There's no question starting off and being ahead in a game certainly works to your advantage. You want to start off fast, then you want to play well in the middle and finish strong.
Is there after 3 straight losses, any sense of relief in winning this one at all?
Yeah, again, we just try to focus on what we need to do each week. The best teams are able to do that. They put the wins and the losses behind them, and they prepare for the next challenge. Our team did a good job of that this week.
You focus on that, but you also see, too, where sometimes where things build up and then you break through. It's sort of like the dam breaking and all the pressure and the things that have bothered a team and weighed them down are kind of off their backs now. There's a freedom going forward, or is that?
Yeah, again, we're at our best and we focus on what we need to do each week. You certainly don't want to take anything for granted after you have a big win, and you certainly don't want to have any hangover when you have a big loss. Somehow, some way you have to process it, put it behind you, learn from it, and move forward. And the best teams are able to do that. That's what we strive to do.
The kickoffs might have bothered you, but 4 bath makings, 3 field goal attempts. What is that?
Yeah, really solid with his field goals, and those are big for us. We had good drives and needed to be able to cash them in, and we'll keep working on getting those kickoffs right.
Did you think your defense was more prepared to how to stop their run, given just the dramatic reversal from what they did in the playoffs against you to you just holding them to 20 yards or whatever it was?
Yeah, I think our defensive staff did a really good job. Yeah. They put a good plan together, and obviously that was a point of emphasis for us. We had to stop the run, and that's really a point of emphasis for us every week. You try to make the opposing offense one-dimensional. Again, that works to your advantage defensively, but the guys did a great job executing the plan. They were fundamentally sound. They were disciplined. They were physical. They ran to the ball. I thought we tackled well. That runner is a big-time player. He's a hell of a football player. So every time the ball snapped and he has it in his hands, he's dangerous. So I thought we did a good job just locking in, honing in, doing what we need to do to stop him throughout the ball game.
Did you know before the game that Philadelphia had won?
I didn't really follow it.
Good luck.
What you say about what you're able to do offensively tonight, too, that Cooper and Gallup and Cobb really weren't a big part of what you were doing as far as a
Paul
production
Anderson, what's
standpoint.
good, fam?
Yeah,
Shout
it was
out
just
to
one
you.
of those games. Obviously, we ran the ball a lot. We ran it effectively. And each of those guys in the passing game, they needed to step up when the number was called. And Amari made a big-time play. I think it was on a third down when Dak was moving to his right in the middle of the field. And, those guys are always ready for their opportunities. They're pros. They understand what we're trying to do. We're trying to win as a team. It's not about numbers, number of catches you have or number of yards. It's when I get my chance, be ready for it. They do a hell of a job of that.
Talk about the Tavon Austin touchdown catch.
Yeah, it was a big time play. Obviously, Dak made a big time play at the outset. Escaping from a free rusher, and give him credit for that, to be able to keep that play alive, and then to have the wherewithal to keep his eyes up and find Tavon was big. And Tavon's pretty fast when he gets out there in space, so nobody's going to catch him.
Gifford and Thomas, do you have updates on those two guys?
It doesn't look good for Luke. We think he has a fracture of his arm, so we'll get more information on that, but it does not look good for him at the outset here. And who else did you? Yeah, I think Joe's going to be okay. Don't have any more information on that. C.J. Goodwin also hurt his thumb, so we're still looking into that and see how he is after this ball game.
This may sound dumb, but that's okay. Do you bring up the fact that if you win this week, you win the East and is there some discussion of that away from the normal process?
Yeah, again, we don't talk too much about that, but obviously everybody needs to know where you are. But then it comes back to us. It comes back to us and our preparation and what we need to do to go play our best football.
Thanks, guys.
All right, good to see you guys. Thank you.
How you doing, guys?
That is Jason Garrett right here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening.
All right, so they finna go into commercial break for 10 seconds. Hey, here's the thing, Cowboy Nation. Let me know. Do you guys still think that we should keep Jason Garrett, or let's just talk about that another day, and let's just talk about the win. Look, or if you guys don't want to keep Jason Garrett, let me know. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, or give me a thumbs down if you want to get rid of Jason Garrett. Just let me know. Cowboy Nation, a win is a win is a win. It'll be a pivotal game next week. That will be like a playoff type of game. We win, we end, we get a home playoff game. It's going to be a game that's going to be in Dallas, Texas. So that's the glory and the good thing about a win. If we can get one, if we can find one, if we can smell one, we would get a win. Shout out to you all, man. CEO, shout out to you. We do really appreciate you. Richard, that's on my Facebook panel, really appreciate you. And Paul, man, let's continue to.
Someone please help me save some money.
They still on commercial break, so if you all are listening to 105.3 The Fan, let me know when they're back live. So this game, man, I saw Ezekiel Elliott run with explosiveness. I saw him run downhill. I was yelling out. Me and Big Game James was live like 95. We were sitting there saying, this Ezekiel Elliott looked like Ohio State Ezekiel, you see. Running through tackles. You can't bring him down with an arm. He was moving that arm out the way. I think he got 117 yards. I think Tony Pollard had 131 rushing yards. So I see a lot of thumbs downs. Wiggle Bell and Ron Burke, and as well as Nathan Holt, Roberto, and S.M. Taylor. A lot of people are saying, hey, enjoy this victory, but, in the bigger picture of things, it's time for Jason Garrett to go. I see you. Shout out to you, Jamie. Thank you for tuning in. And Cindy. She says she loved her some Law Nation. I really appreciate you for loving the nation. Yes, and here's the thing, Cowboy Nation. When we can just get into the tournament, I think my guy West Coast Cowboy, for those who don't know, DC Scouting, and those guys is over there on the Facebook deal. He got a wonderful video talking about. He really broke it down like line by line, precept upon precept, like the Bible does, on how the Giants were able to gain that momentum when they got into the tournament. They didn't finish out strong like we thought they did, you see. But it's all about getting to the tournament, and you can just shake some things, and some things can change or loose, and then all of a sudden you can look up and say, okay, now we got a playoff game. Now we got another playoff game. Oh, now we got another playoff. Oh, my goodness, now we in the Super Bowl. You see, strange things can happen, and the worst thing that can ever happen is a team like ours. We got 15 guys that been to the Pro Bowl one way or another, right? And if these guys can just bring this type of energy, turnovers and takeaways on the defense, I didn't like how they finished as it relates to prevent defense, but I do like the collective strategy on the offense, running the ball like Ezekiel Elliott, and then bringing in the Tony Pollards of the world. Boy, that's nasty.
On display today, the physical toughness and the mental toughness was all over our football team. Hell of a job, you guys. Hell of a job. You guys know where we are, though. You guys know where we are. We're right back at it. We talked about it all week long. This one's done. Now it's tomorrow. Yes. Tomorrow's a one-day season.
There's Jason Garrett inside the winning locker room.
Hey, besides that prep talk from Jason Garrett, I must say that must have been one hell of a highlight tape that he showed those boys last week and this week, right? That must have been one hell of a highlight tape. I want to get a copy of that highlight tape. I really do. I really want to see that highlight tape.
Supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys inside the Miller Lite Club, where the Cowboys are 7-7 after their 44-21 victory. We'll hear from Zeke Elliott in a moment and what he had to say, but Zeke was fantastic in this one. The Cowboys' rush attack was fantastic. Zeke, 24 for 117 and 2 touchdowns. Also had 3 receptions for 43 yards. Tony Pollard, 12 for 131, an average of 11 yards per carry. Brought us more impressive in this win, the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball for the Cowboys?
I think defensively, because they had been in such disarray, if you want to be, to maybe use the right word here. I don't know, I'm not a wordsmith like you are, but I feel like,
nice
though, when you
word,
watch them play, to me, I had more worries about could the Cowboys stop the Rams? Could they stop this?
Because they haven't shown the ability to stop anybody. Jeff Driscoll or Teddy Bridgewater or anybody.
Exactly. You play a better quarterback. You play more weapons. You play an offensive line that hadn't given up many sacks. They were second behind you in the number of sacks, and you were able to get pressure all night long and then find a way to choke their running game. That was something Mickey Spagnuolo talked about in the pregame show with us. I said, Mickey, take one that you can do. And Mickey, and I'll ask him when he comes out here tonight, what did you wanted to choke the run. They did. It had forced Jared Goff to have to make great job of the secondary, though, too. Cheeto Awuzie and what he was able to do playing in coverage. Jordan Lewis didn't give up very much inside out of the slot. They made some plays on the football. They tackled well enough as a group, and that's what you had to have. They got the Rams in some third down and some long yardage situations and were able to get off the field, and we hadn't seen that very much in the last 3 weeks.
When the Cowboys and Rams played in the division round of the playoffs in January, the Rams as a team had 48 carries for 273 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tonight, the Cowboys as a team, 45 carries, 263 and 3 touchdowns. Virtually the exact same statistical lines for the Rams and the Cowboys in the last 2 matchups. And this was just a game where the ground game worked early for the Cowboys. They didn't have to force the pass. They were running well, blocking it well, and Zeke was running the football well. And Chris Arnold, our own Chris Arnold, caught up with Zeke Elliott in the locker room after this one.
There you go, Zeke.
Zeke, it seemed like it was a total, complete effort by all sides of the ball. Can you describe how you feel about everybody's effort?
We're excited. We're happy we went out there and got the win, but we're on to the next one. Got to watch the game, obviously, and see how everything went. But, now we're on to this next one-game season we got next week.
You had a fine game, but you always like to talk about your buddy Tony Pollard. He had a really nice game tonight, 130 yards rush. 130 yards.
Shout out to you, Natasha.
Yes, Tony had a hell of a day. He was running real hard. His long couple of his runs, I think he was stopped in the backfield and he broke a bunch of tackles and ran for extra yards. So he had a hell of a day, man. I'm happy for him. He's a hell of a player, and he's gonna keep growing as a player.
Were you surprised you guys were able to run so much on the Rams because their defense normally doesn't give it that much running yards?
No. We know, like I said, I've been saying to you guys all year. We know what type of men we have in this room. We know how good that our offensive line is, and we're pros just like them. So, when we go out there and handle our business, when we go out there and execute, we're hard to stop. This
kind of a win, does it set up momentum to take in on Philadelphia for the showdown? In other words, a decisive victory.
Yeah, I think we did set up some momentum, but we still got a lot of work to do. Got a lot of work to do this season, so we just getting started.
There's Zeke Elliott, Chris Arnold right here on the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. Cowboys beat the Rams 44-21. They improved to 7-7 on the season. Cowboys now 7-0 when they score at least 30 points. Scored 44 tonight.
That's good.
Brought us a lot of Cowboys fans. This is the glass half full or half empty kind of game.
Yeah.
Is this fool's gold, or is this a team that's turned the corner?
Yeah, I don't know how you can go into one game when you've had the body of work. Again, we all talk about, hey, for 12 weeks, you're not fooling me anymore, and then they go and lose to Chicago. Then we turn around, and I think the Cowboy Nation itself was thinking there's no way they're going to beat the Rams. They're going to think about, okay, survive this game the best you can, don't get hurt, and then get to the Philadelphia game and then find a way to win Washington. Those are the games you seem to do very well, and you don't lose divisional games.
Right.
And, the Rams were playing very well coming into this game, this just shows you what the Cowboys are capable of doing. They're capable of putting together. Garrett said it, when you look at all three phases, and they always talk about that, the offense, defense, special teams, other than the kickoffs that went out of bounds, this was a perfect game. You couldn't have drawn it up any better. Yeah, you lost a couple of guys with injuries and stuff like that, which hurt. But you look at overall how this team played tonight, and it makes you scratch your head because you're like thinking, they're capable of doing this every week. Why haven't we seen this every week? Do you have to be 6-7 before you realize, oh my gosh, we got to dig ourselves out of this hole that we're in?
Well, and that's the impetus for the question on, is this fool's gold, right? Because
absolutely.
Some of us look at this and think, where has this been the last 3 weeks? Where has this been most of the season? Is this fool's gold insofar as we don't know that the things that went well for this team is sustainable moving forward? The one thing for me is...
Ari, what's sustainable is their ability to run the football.
Yeah.
We've seen Ezekiel Elliott. Even in the losses, we tend to... And the player of the game, it's always Ezekiel Elliott. We talk about, it might be 70 or 80 yards in a loss, a tough
It's a great point. He's starting to emerge.
Yeah, he's the one thing that's sustainable. Everything else... So I asked our guys on Corey and Kevin the other day, I go, would you rather have a 300-yard Dak passing game or a 100-yard Ezekiel Elliott rushing game? And everybody was like, oh, no, give me the 300 yards. No. This showed you today, Dak Prescott didn't have the impressive game that you needed him to have. But what you physically did was you went after a team that's very good defensively. And that's what the team, Garrett talks about balance, and we all kind of roll our eyes and laugh. But that's really what this team is. When they do have those balanced games, they tend to play better.
Was this, from a defensive standpoint, Wade Phillips?
Yeah.
Was this just, as you alluded to in the
first
segment,
he got embarrassed tonight. Yeah, he got embarrassed.
There was just so much window dressing that kind of he was on tilt a little bit. I mean, because it's amazing how Wade Phillips knew to choke out the run in that playoff game last year.
Right. 2 weeks to get ready for that game. Remember that, Ari? We were talking about that. They didn't get ready for Seattle in that divisional game. They got ready for the Cowboys for 2 weeks. Study. But to your point, what Wade had to be a little bit disappointed back that his front had been pretty physical. They had been, that's a big, when you talk about guys and Aaron Donald, Aaron Donald was not a factor in this football game tonight.
Right.
So give Xavier Su'a-Filo, give Travis Frederick, give the inside guys some credit for what they do and handle those inside guys for the Rams.
Cowboys took them 15 weeks, but they finally beat a team with a winning record. They beat the Rams 44-21. And you're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
All right, so they're going to go in a commercial break. I was about to get mad if he didn't bring out number 76. You see, last year when we played the L.A. Rams, they was a fresh team. They didn't have a game the previous week. They had enough time to game plan. And then on top of that, you had grown men against number 52 that looked like a baby out there. You remember he was folding up like a wallet? So this game, we had 76, that guy Xavier Su'a-Filo. You had 77 who folded up number 99, because as much as we love Aaron Donald, when he against 77, that's a mismatch, because 77 is a huge mammoth of a man. And Aaron Donald, he's fast and get off and these sorts of things. He don't have that bend that you think that he will have, but he have pure strength and he gets you off the get off. But man, when you combine those two boys right beside each other, and on top of that, last year we didn't have number 72. So it was a whole different game. We won this game by the ground and pound, and on top of that, shout out to my guy Coulier. Yes, and then on top of that, if you really think about it, Cowboy Nation, if you really think about it, just think about this right quick. This team, if we can continue to use that recipe, grown man football, giving Dak Prescott not 350 yards, not 400 yards, which we know he can do it for those who went out there to Oxnard. You saw it out there. Shout out to you, Corey Booker, man, that's on the Facebook panel. You know for sure that Dak Prescott can sling it around, but that's not how we win. This is not how this team is built. This team is built to pass the rock, balanced running approach, and then on top of that, feed Ezekiel Elliott. That's why you paid the man all of the money. And then as soon as they get tired of tackling Ezekiel Elliott, we got a guy that wears 2-0 on his jersey. His name is Tony Pollard. He can give you some of that gash action too. So that's how this team win. And everybody else was just like soloists. The Cooper, and I'm talking about Amari Cooper, and the Michael Gallups of the world, and the Randall Cobbs, they were just backup choir singers. And there's nothing wrong with that, because they're going to shine and dictate. They're going to do some things that can dictate what the defense is going to do down the line. But when we are cashing, when we are running, we taking care of business up and inside, that's how you want to see. That's what you want to see out there.
With location.
They're still on commercial break. Somebody let me know when they live. Shout out to you all. Shout out to Thomas. Shout out to Ray that's on the Facebook deal, man. Shout out to you, Chris. He says, preach. So if you didn't go to church this Sunday, you're in church right now. Can I get an amen? Amen. 52 out for the season. Anyway, this is from Andrew Jackson. The money man is in the chat box. Really appreciate you. Mario Perez told you, bro. Cowboys wanted to let me see if I can read this, get the W versus the Rams. So what this W means, for one, it knocks down the narrative that we can't beat a team that's above 500. So they can remove that narrative off the shelf. For two, we can look at it and say, okay, the Rams just beat the Seattle Seahawks, who's everybody looking at saying that they are a playoff caliber team. So they remove that narrative off the table too. On top of that, it gives us a little momentum. Now we got to take that momentum. You got to take it and use it against the Eagles, because we can't lay an egg.
Dak Prescott of the situation.
I thought when they said we're going to kick, I went, okay, are they playing? Thinking about the sun and all that stuff. When we get the sun, and later in the year, it's maybe not so much a factor. But I couldn't figure out why they wanted to kick.
Right.
And then that was good for Lawrence coming up, stepping up, and saying that's the reason why.
Yeah, we'll hear from Dak Prescott momentarily as he visits with the media. But a very interesting, weird, obscene start to this game for the Cowboys.
It was corrected in New York, so what happened is they got the audio, and then New York said, and that's when Coach Garrett was talking about, he asked Aaron Andrews, and they said, well, this is what said, they have audio. So obviously New York was able to say, okay, this is what needs to be done, and then Walt Anderson was able to get that the right way for the second half.
Cowboys beat the Rams 44-21. They improved to 7-7 on the season. Academy Sports and Outdoors, a store with top brands like Adidas, Shimano, Rawlings, and Columbia. All guaranteed low prices like you've never seen.
While you're running through that thing, man, follow Cowboy Nation by just typing in LAW Nation. You should see my name, face, or logo.
Call or text that number to get into the post-game show. From the 469 area code. This win ain't fooling me. They played well because they were at home.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. My phone was going off right there. No, not going off. I was texting that in from the 469. No, I mean, find a way to get put some of these back to back now. Find a way to go out and play. You've shown yourself you're capable
out
of
together
playing.
A full game, possibly at the most perfect time, at the most important time.
Mm-hmm.
Love the content. #blessings #DC4L.
Made some great plays for you today. Jason Witten made a great play, a couple great plays for you. And then Sean Lee. Sean Lee, it's amazing the way that he played after how he's been playing the last 3 weeks. I was kind of thinking, starting to throw the dirt on Sean Lee. Here we go, but it was outstanding. And how about a guy that didn't practice really at all this week? He was, give Britt Brown, trainer Jim Maurer, a lot of credit. And then that's just Sean Lee studying film, being prepared, and then going out and having a whale of a game.
And Witten, too. I mean, two guys that they were throwing dirt. I mean, Witten even more so. This is a guy that everybody wanted to bench.
Yeah, very popular to throw dirt on Jason Witten because you feel like, but look what happened with Blake Jarwin today, and the tight ends. Coach Garrett said it says, well, the receivers and the tight ends in this game today. Again, to me, Kellen Moore made Wade Phillips have to defend the whole field. It wasn't just one area.
What does that mean?
Well, when I talk about defend the whole field, again, sideline to sidelines, horizontally, and then vertically. You watch the way the waggles, the boots, when they were getting to the edge, they were going left, going right. They run the route with Tavon Austin. They move the pocket to the right. They get collision in the middle of the field because they get Blake Jarwin on a deep cross, and that gets the safety and his man all mixed up. And now it's wide open. So to me, that's what you got to do. You can't just sit there and be this, okay, to the right side, to the right side, to the right. Make them defend the whole field. Make them have to run sideline, defend the run, and then also defend the vertical passing game.
And give credit where credit's due. Kellen Moore, obviously. How about Jason Garrett? I mean, this is a out-coaching Sean McVay type performance.
No, absolutely. His team was better prepared, and we haven't been able to say that very much, and that maybe, when we've talked about was the extra time off, the extra 3 days that the Cowboys got, to kind of look at themselves and say, okay, we're in a position right now where we can lose this game and then, maybe make it a 2-game season, or we can go find a way and get a little momentum and try and get this thing in the tournament the right way.
And one of the things Kellen Moore said early on this season was asked about kind of his coaching influences and how he came up with the offense he's running, and obviously he's linked to Chris Peterson, his former coach at Boise and Scott Linehan with the Lions, and all these other influences throughout his career. But what's interesting is he said, he's watching football, college, pro, and he's designing stuff based on what he sees. So he's influenced by guys that he's not even working with. And one of those we saw in this game was Lincoln Riley. You and I brought us. We're watching the Big 12 championship game here at AT&T Stadium, and we saw Jalen Hurts and Lincoln Riley run this zone read triple option where they could either hand the ball off, run it with the quarterback, or pitch it, and it was literally the exact same play on the exact same field. So there's Kellen Moore watching the Big 12 championship game a few weeks ago and stealing some Lincoln Riley for his offense, too.
Some of the best offensive and defensive coordinators are some of the best thieves ever. And that's where I remember John Gruden, when he was with us in Green Bay, him and Andy Reid would always steal plays. They would watch screen packages from certain teams, the Minnesota Vikings when they had Darren Nelson. You would steal plays, the vertical passing game with the Miami Dolphins with Duper and Clayton and those guys. So there's always, like you say, coordinators, the best ones steal from other coordinators.
877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. I asked Broadus earlier, more impressive in this one, offense or defense? You mentioned defense. It's hard to disagree with that because we've kind of been waiting for a performance like this from their defense.
Didn't think it was going to happen.
Didn't think it was going to happen.
No, didn't think that was going to happen.
Especially not in this game.
No, absolutely not.
I got to mention Sean Lee, man. That user pick.
Yeah.
To think they can turn around and
Buffalo,
week plus.
The Buffalo game was another one. You're making these young quarterbacks look outstanding. You don't get off the field. You don't stop the run. Teams are more physical than you. They came out today and we're not going to allow the Rams to be more physical than them. And then, and ultimately it set the tone. They also got in a situation where the offense was able to sustain some drives, which got them, they got a lead. So what it said, okay, now we don't have to worry about the run. Let's try and get after this quarterback a little bit. And that's where you see some guys like Dorrance Armstrong on the field getting after, the quarterback. And you saw some, every once in a while, even the incompletions, there were passes that were thrown incomplete, of course, but you had the pressure. You saw guys in his face near him, and I think that affected the way he played today.
Did you notice Chris Richard and the Cowboys doing something different schematically in this game?
How about Jordan Lewis with his 4th sack of the year? Jordan Lewis, I wish he had that built into his contract that he was that a number of sacks for. If he got over 4 sacks, he was going to get an extra 200.
Hey, he 1 sack behind D-Law.
You're going to figure that out. But yeah, Sean Lee got home on a blitz, and that's what we were talking about. What was Jared Goff's quarterback rating? It was 74.45, something like that, when he was pressured, and they were able to affect the way he played.
74.45. That's pretty good. It's pretty good memory there.
Yeah, I played a couple of games without a helmet, so, it's surprising that I remember that number.
Cowboys with 44 points outscored every other team in the National Football League today. Vikings were the closest with 39. So a just incredibly impressive performance. For me, though, I guess I'm more impressed with the offense from a standpoint of that seems more sustainable. You mentioned the running game, and that's sustainable. But the entire offensive onslaught, we've seen this from them this year. 7 games now, 7-0, and they score 30-plus points. It's not exactly indicative of, well, get your 30 and you win the game. But it just goes to show you that this is a team that was not capable of consistently putting 30-point performances on the board last year. I think they only did it 3 times.
Yeah, the problem they run into is that with the way the defense has been playing this year, they almost have to score 30 points just to have a chance. And that's, too, But again, to sustain those types of things, looks like we got Dak Prescott making his way to the podium here.
Dak, let me hear your conversation for the nation.
Chooch, talked about it all week. We just need to get a win, change things, and we could build from there. But it obviously started on getting a win, and tonight we just played complementary football, something that we hadn't done. And I talked about it this week about helping each other out, having each other's back, and that's what you saw. Defense made plays, we came and capitalized on it, and vice versa.
On that note, Sean Lee mentioned that Jason Garrett spoke Saturday night about the complementary football and being there for each other. Talk a little bit about that speech.
Yeah, just gave us a story about him playing baseball and just about what it means to be a team, and about I got your back, and no matter what happens, I got you, I'll pick you up. And that's what it was, and that's what we did tonight through adversity, through success. A bunch of guys, voiced it, but looked at each other and say, hey, I got you. I'm going to pick you up, and we're able to do that tonight, and it's something we've got to continue to build on.
Follow up on that. Could you talk about Jason Witten's touchdown catch, what he did at the end there?
Yeah, great. Yeah, it was a great play. Not a great ball necessarily by me, but the defender undercut it. Jason did a great job of hauling it in and then getting in the end zone. Just showed up. Did what Jason Witten does.
Great day, but it's a
coin flip. And what happened?
Yeah, that's exactly the coin flip. A great day, but a weird start. Take me through the coin flip.
Yeah, definitely a weird start. We wanted to set adversity there instead of on the field, so we could play from behind immediately. But just bad use of words by me. We listened to the audio. We got it figured out. But yeah, just wasn't the best. Wasn't the cleanest coin flip I've been a part of.
So what did you say, and how did that?
A little bit of everything. There's audio to it.
What are you supposed to say? Are you supposed to say defer?
There's depends on the strategy, right? You can say defer, means you want the ball in the second half. You can kick it and kick it both halves, or you say receive and we want it. So there's a lot of options.
You really don't want to kick it both halves, though, right?
Depends on the weather, the situation of the game.
Dak, your thoughts on facing Goff and Wentz this year? You're 2-0 against them, two guys who went number one, and two in your draft class when you went fourth.
Yeah, respect to those guys. Those guys are great players. But obviously, when you play them, there's a little bit of that chip on your shoulder that you wanna beat their team. Just simple as that, we came out and we were able to get a good team win over those guys.
What do you think on the running game today?
Excellent. Starts up front. Those guys communicating, coming off the ball. Was beautiful. And then you look at the runners, the way they did, broke tackles, made people miss. Both of those guys was so impressive. And then the receivers outside making plays, and even Tavon's numbers called on a round screen, or on a fly sweep or whatever it is. Everybody contributed, whether it was them with the ball in their hands or them doing their job and blocking. Just great complimentary football.
The offensive line protected you really well the whole game, that guy.
Yeah, starts with them, run game and pass game. Credit those guys. We talked about how great they are all year long and what they mean to this team, and that's where this team begins.
Hey, Dak, can you take us through the touchdown pass to Tavon?
It's one of those plays. We're faking another play, rolling out. We've got one concept called. You can change it if you want. We're able to get that communicated, to get Tavon on the over. They gave us a tough look to protect, and basically that put us a man off, and they had a guy coming free and was just able to make him miss, and had Tavon across the field. Two guys ran at each other. He did the rest.
You had bad field position for a lot of the game early on. What was the value of being able to drive the ball 90-plus yards twice for touchdowns?
Yeah, something about our offense. Field position, when we're backed up, we say it's more of a challenge for us. Hey, let's go show who we are, show our character, and just lock in one play at a time. It doesn't matter if it's a 90-yard drive or a 20-yard drive. Let's just lock in and do what we have to do on this single play, and we'll worry about the next one when it comes. And you're able to look up, and we put some long drives together tonight.
Where has this team been, and can this be you the rest of the way?
For sure. As I talked about it, we just needed to get a win. I said momentum is a dangerous thing, and it's about getting it on our side. And we've just got to build off tonight. Simple as that. We're still not where we want to be. We haven't necessarily peaked, but we're heading in the right direction, and we've just got to continue to build and get better.
Jason Witten said it was a day for the old guys, for him and Sean Lee.
For sure.
What was that like watching those two guys kind of fight?
It was so awesome. Two guys that embody everything about the Dallas Cowboys and what that team's about. I don't know if I've been more excited about a play in a football game than I was when Sean Lee intercepted that ball. He's been trying to get that play, get that pick on me for a long time in practice. He did 2 years ago, and it's been a constant battle with me and him there, and he was able to get that interception, had a great return. I didn't necessarily see the interception, but I look up and see him making people miss, and, hey, there's another fullback if we need it. So, no, it was great. And then Witten with the catch. As I said, those are two guys that embody everything that the star means.
In terms of next week, you guys in a lot of ways obviously say it's just the next game or another game, but is there a way that you can channel that it's the biggest game as a positive?
It's a playoff game, obviously. Simple as that. It's a playoff game. It's a rival. It's a team in the division. It's a must-win game, and we have to approach it as a playoff game, and that's the way we will. Back to work tomorrow.
How much does this momentum today carry over to next week?
It's huge. It's huge, but we have to continue to build on it. We can't hang our hats on this. Turn the page, enjoy tonight, and move on. We'll come in early in the morning. We've got the right guys with the right character to do exactly that and continue to grow.
What does having a kicker make those field goals like that do for the confidence of the offense in general?
Yeah, it's just great. I mean, able to when you're not getting those touchdowns and you're getting down there and to able to capitalize on those 3 points. Kai did a great job tonight. Thankful for that.
What did you see from your offense on that 97-yard touchdown drive? What worked for you guys?
One more time.
The 97-yard touchdown drive, 14 plays, 11 of them were runs. What worked for you guys? Why were you able to maul them all the way down the field?
Yeah, we just focused in one play at a time. I think I just kind of mentioned that, and that was just our mindset. We said it before we even ran that first play is, hey, it's 97 yards, but let's not worry about that. Let's worry about this exact play right now. Everything that goes into this play, and we'll worry about the next one when it's called. And we've got the right guys to do that. Worry about their 111th to do their job, and then we looked up, and we're in the end zone.
Do you feel like you guys established or reestablished your identity as a football team today?
In a way, I mean, we just played complementary football. We were good to each other. When they made plays, as I said, we responded and we made good plays, and vice versa. We just picked each other up, and that's what it's all about.
Pollard had several explosive runs. What impressed you about his performance?
Yeah, he's something else. He's just something else. Arm tackles and all that stuff, he's just getting through it. He continues to make plays anytime the ball's in his hands, and he's a special player, and thankful we have him.
Did you guys ever get down after that Chicago game? I know you're always confident, but I don't know how low you guys got it. And was that the time and way good to just let that go and restart this week?
I mean, we definitely hadn't got down on ourselves. Never have, because we know the team we have, we know the talent we have, we know the men and the character that we have on this team. And it was about just going out there and putting a good game together on both sides of the ball and complimenting each other. But, yeah, when you have the confidence, or when you have the team that we have and the skill, the confidence, you never have a down day. It's just about learning and moving forward no matter what happens.
What's the biggest thing you'll focus on going forward to next week and beyond to try and replicate what you did today?
To be better. I don't know if it's a sense of replicating. It's a sense of getting better from what we did today. We can't say let's go out there and have the same performance. We've got to go out there and improve on this one. Offensive, defensive, everything. We got to be even better. Those field goals got to turn into touchdowns. So it's about just pedal to the metal, trying to play our best ball when it means the most.
True.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Dak.
There's Dak Prescott as the Cowboys win their 7th game of the season.
Hey, my thing is my thoughts on that. Great conversation about owning up to his mistake about the Jason Witten pass, and great observation by Sean Lee. And what I took from Dak Prescott overall interview was this right here, Cowboy Nation. The fact that he said that, hey, let's enjoy this for tonight and let's get ready for this Eagles game for next week. I love every piece of that. I do. For him to have that focused mental attitude of saying, okay, that's cool, we won. But we got to focus in on the Eagles for next week. This is going to be our playoff game. So I love that.
They did.
So they're still on commercial break. And my thing is the way that Dak Prescott stepped up in this game and not being the person saying, okay, we got to win it through my arm. We got to give a shout-out to Ezekiel Elliott. We got to give a shout-out to their front five offensive line and also Tony Pollard for maintaining and getting those necessary dirty yards. I think that will be the recipe of this team going forward. We do know that next week we will be playing in the elements. I hope the weather is nice. However, we can still look at this team and say, okay, let's run this rock. We got the necessary tools to do it. And shout out to 71. 71 did a hell of a job today. I mean, I'm talking about I saw him pancake a guy, and I like the way when we got into the money zone, red zone, green zone, gold zone, whatever zone you want to call it, I like the fact that 49 hit somebody. I'm talking about Jameis Olawale. They didn't send him out there to catch anybody's balls. You know what I mean? So I love every piece of that. He showed a physical trait inside the money zone, so that was good too. I love seeing this, Cowboy Nation. So we will see if we can stack good wins on top of good wins. Shout out to you, Angie. Shout out to you, Michael. And shout out to you, Carol, on the Facebook. Shout out to you, Akeem, Marcus, and as well as Ronnie. Let's continue to grind, man. I really appreciate you all. They're still on commercial break. So my thing is, when we play this type of game, there must have been one hell of, like I say, this must have been one hell of a highlight footage to show to this team for them to play inspired the way they did. And my thing is, when you look at the defensive side of the ball, we still got to clean up on a few things. 79 had a few false starts, or not false starts, but jumping and snaps and these sorts of things. We can't have that in a natural game. We do know that against the Chicago Bears, it wasn't 79 that did this, but it was my guy, DeMarcus Lawrence. Remember, he jumped offside. It was like 3rd and 9 or what have you, gave the Bears life, and they was able to continue to drive and score. Well, as these games get closer, we don't want to see the Eagles get more and more opportunities. I just witnessed 2 games back-to-back from the Eagles that they clearly should have lost, but they kept on playing resilient, and then on top of that, they had some calls favoring for them, you see, because I'm seeing already with my natural eyes looking at the game earlier this morning, they giving Carson Wentz the Tom Brady treatment, meaning that they call it roughing the passer out of all of a sudden off of plays that you can look back and say, wait a minute, hold on, y'all gonna give that to us? So we got to play a clean game next week. We do. Because you know how the drama is going to be. You guys know how this thing is going to be. If we stop the run, we'll be Philly. This is from Vern. We also got to stop the screen passes. You know, we was blessed because Goff, he can't run, so we can actually stationary and have stationary targets for it. But Carson, he can get out of the pocket a little bit. You know, he can run a little bit better than a Goff. So we're going to have our hands full. And if you look back at the Washington game versus the Eagles, the score that he passed to number 26, the running back, it was because he rolled out of the pocket and the running back kept looking for the ball and never gave up on the route. So we got our hands full. Number 26, I believe, Miles Sanders, I mean, he started to blossom a little bit. And they do some unconventional stuff too. It was 3rd and 13. They did a delay run. They ran the ball on 3rd and 13 and they got it. So we got to be mindful of that. And where teams been gashing us a little bit was from the run. But shout out to Antoine Barbecue Woods. He showed up today, didn't he? Did you guys saw that? He showed up today. So let's see.
Yeah, I know that we talked about this in the pregame show. Is when would Jason Garrett run him out there? And you and I were sitting in the press box, and I was kind of thinking, well, maybe this is an opportunity, punt, play defense, that kind of thing. Don't really push the issue. But obviously he'd seen what, Christy Scales had talked about, how he was able to make field goals in the warm-ups. The doors were open, but there's some slight breezes and stuff kind of coming through there. But he handled everything very well, other than the kickoffs. The kickoffs, again, trying to maybe place the ball or trying to hammer the ball, and then you overcook it and it gets a little left on you. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, though, Ari. The confidence or the lack of confidence that you had, with Brett Maher. Now the players driving home feel a little bit better about, okay, hey, we got a guy that can make field goals for us. When we, drive the ball down the field, we get stopped and we need 3 points, we don't have to sit there and hope that we're going to make a 37-yard field goal.
We'll hear what Jerry Jones had to say after this win in a moment. But first, trying to find tickets to football games or any other live event can be complicated. There's hundreds of sites and shady pricing. With SeatGeek, you can do everything in one place. Search it.
Yeah, so you if you want to find analysis to the game, just check out Law Nations as well as Law Nation on the Instagram, Facebook page, and on YouTube. We got 2 channels here, so if you want to find that information out, just type in LAW Nation. This will also be live on iTunes. So hit up iTunes, look up LAW Nation. Yeah, let's go back.
Whatever you're in. And I must say, I guess I'm going to have to get me a new coin flip caller out there. But no, seriously, really proud because that does renew the team's confidence in its work. And we have all the respect in the world for the Rams. We do. Almost this time last year, they taught us a lesson in the running game, and we know they're they're well coached and a good team. So this one was richly deserved and came along at a good time for us.
Do you wonder where this team has been all year?
Well, I don't want to go there. I just know that I'm buoyed by the fact that they're going to get this shot of inspiration, shot of confidence in what their hard work can do when it pays off. I think that everybody has soul searched, as you should be, and you saw a lot of pride out there tonight, and I think hopefully we'll see that as we go forward into our really second season here, hopefully.
Does it cause you to sort of reassess what the future trajectory of your team and your coaching staff might be?
I don't know that that implies that I had concluded and had assessed the future, and that's not correct. And so I had not reached that point, and wouldn't under any circumstances until this season is over. What it does remind me is the season's not over, and that's a plus thing. We've got a long road to hoe, but we've got a huge challenge coming up here this weekend up in Philadelphia, and but this is what the doctor ordered to get ready to go play the Eagles.
Jerry, besides their level of confidence, what about your level of confidence that maybe they can soul search for another 3 or 8 weeks?
Well, I'm not so sure that my confidence level is as meaningful here, really, at this juncture. What's meaningful is for these guys to go out and see some rewards from doing the kinds of things that you'd expect, good practice habits, good health, good players. You'd expect them to have a better go of it than we did against a couple of those teams the last 2 or 3 weeks. This did that today because, again, all the respect in the world with the Rams.
Jerry, how important is the win that you believe can turn things around for this franchise?
Well, I think this is home. I think this is a team that played in the Super Bowl last year, the Rams I'm talking about. This is a team that I know have really outstanding players, and I know them to be well coached. And so a win like this has that credibility as far as there's no adage. Once you see a player do it, you know they can do it. Once you see a team do it, you know they can do it. And it went right for us. It wasn't like it started off right. And it seemed like the first 3 or 4 significant things that happened out there tonight was going to be really not nightmarish, but not go our way. And, of course, they played through that. But this is a great way for us to not get over, but for us to put in perspective what the last 3 or 4 weeks have meant and how to pull out and make something good happen. It is possible for this team to have be a part of a team that they can remember all their lives in a positive way.
There's Jerry Jones. After the Cowboys beat the Rams 44-21. Ari Temkin, Brian brought us here in the Miller Lite Club. Let's visit now with Brad Sham, voice of the Dallas Cowboys, and Mickey Spagnola from DallasCowboys.com.
Let me see what Brad.
Just like they drew it up, guys.
I heard Babe and Mickey talking before the game, and they both agreed that it would be 44 to something.
Yeah, and it's funny, Mickey. We had you on pregame, and you made a really good point. You said,
Mickey
"Hey, they need to choke something here," and you said, "Choke that run first." And defensively, I felt like, guys, that they came out and were able to do just that. It's just amazing. And both of you, I'll let you comment. What was the difference this week? Is it playing square? Is it getting off blocks? Is it not arm tackling? What's the difference in run defense from one week to another?
And from one game against the Rams to another.
Oh, right? Yeah, no kidding.
I don't need to remind you, it was 273, and I know you got tired all year of me keep bringing it up. They ran for 273 yards.
Yeah.
Well, they ran for 22 this game.
Yeah.
And 8 of those came on a BS touchdown at the end, right?
Right.
So they held them to 14 yards rushing. How do you do that, right?
Right.
Well, number one, guys did what they're supposed to do. Number two, I've been told that schematically they had a better plan than they had in that playoff game.
Yeah.
And number three, when your offense is scoring 44 points, they ain't running anymore.
Right.
Todd Gurley's out of the game just the way Zeke's been out of the game the last two halves. So to me, yeah, you scored 44 points, but the fact that you held them to 7 points when the game was on the line and 22 yards rushing, that made the entire difference in this whole game.
And to me, the comparison to last year is not nearly as important as compared to the last 6 quarters.
Sure.
That
was the focus you had.
That's who they've been.
Right.
That's not who they think they are. It's not who they want to be, but that's what we've seen. So you are, until you show me that you're something different. So what was different? Well, they were a little more rested. They had Antoine Woods back today, and I thought he had an outstanding
chip on the shoulder game for him.
Yep, and he was one who didn't have a good game in that game in Los Angeles in January.
And he got hurt, if you remember. He tore his pec in that game. And so I thought he made a difference. I think that there was a little accountability during the week. I think that there were some coaches who called guys out, and they called each other out, and they stepped up and said, this is on us.
Right.
And then you had, Jeff Heath's out there with 2 torn labrums.
Right.
Sean Lee's out there with a torn pec and a pelvic thing, and he makes that play.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
And then the key was what the line was. That schematic thing that Mick's talking about is probably the most important of all, because what it did was it kept them in second and third and long early. Now that hasn't been happening.
Yep, absolutely.
People have been looking at 3rd and 2.
Right.
Well, now they're looking at, and then I thought the coverage is. I thought you'll look at the tape tomorrow.
Sure,
I will. I bet we find that Awuzie's played his best game in 2 months.
Yep. It showed he's capable of playing a game like that.
Jordan Lewis, who has had some great moments. I thought the last 2 games has not been good. Today was outstanding.
Fair point.
So those guys, this is part of complementary football. When you play that stout up front, then you cover well, and they're in 3rd and 9, not 3rd and 2, and then you score. This is complementary football. Then you score. Then they score. Then you score again. Then you get a takeaway, and now it's what Mick said just a minute ago, because that's what happened to him in Chicago. They miss a field goal that was going to tie the game at 10.
Yeah.
Bears drive it down and make it 17-7 instead of 10-10.
Right.
And then they get the ball again in the 3rd quarter, and now it's 2 scores, 3 scores, and now you're completely out of your game. So today, you have stout, accountable play across the front. You have better coverage. You have better down and distance. Also, the field position today was completely different than it was against the Bears. And today, they looked like a football team.
And guess who ran for 263?
Yeah.
Oh, Dallas Cowboys.
Right, it was almost completely flipped.
Yeah,
it was
flipped the whole
5.7 yards per carry for the Rams in that January game, 5.8 yards per carry for the Cowboys tonight. What was more impressive for you guys, the offensive performance or the defensive performance?
Man, defense.
Well, to me, it's the defensive performance because of the way they've been playing. They've been garbage for the last 6 quarters.
Boy, you just made me look good. I said that to start. Yeah.
For the last 6 quarters, they've looked horrible. Now, again, you and I have talked about this.
Oh, no.
On Thanksgiving against Buffalo,
Don't be
I'm
nervous,
willing
Brian.
to attribute it to getting back at 3 in the morning from New England, because they played okay in New England.
Sure.
Then we get back at 2 in the morning. You don't get to bed before 4, and you got to turn around and play on Thursday. So, okay. And the first half against Buffalo was certainly representative, and you miss 2 field goals, and the air goes out of the balloon, and it all works together. Now, the second half, that's when I said to you on the phone when we talked,
you did.
They looked tired in the second half of that game.
Yeah.
And last week, you would have expected a little more normalcy because they were back on a 7-day schedule, but they were absent. That was a total embarrassment. And every one of them should hope that the tape of that game gets burned and that no one can ever see it. Everybody involved with the defense, because the effort was poor. And today, it was completely reversed, and that's why, as good as the offense was, for me, the defense today was the most important and impressive part.
And think about going into that stretch of 3 road games in 4.
when they were coming off, okay, they got beat by Minnesota, but they played decently, right?
Sure.
And then they beat Detroit. The offense is humming. You go to New England, and that happens. And then all of a sudden, that team, the previous 2 weeks, just disappeared.
Right.
And Brad asked that. I remember when he asked that question. The team looked tired right after New England. And he's right. And I don't know that they recovered because that second half against the Bears, they looked tired.
Yep.
And no one's going to say it, right?
Sure.
And they're not going to say it publicly. 9 days, I think, made a difference. It's almost like they just got rejuvenated. And we talked about it, early in the week on how the same thing happened after a night game in 2014 at New York, got back at 5, 6 in the morning, and then got blown out by Philadelphia on Thanksgiving Day. And that was a 12-14.
Sure.
But they no-showed, right? That travel really, and the weather, I just think that weather, standing out in the cold and the rain and the wind, it takes it mentally and physically out of you. Now, this looked like what, this is what we thought we saw. Remember we were talking?
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday with the Star Sports Group?
Yeah.
It's like, where'd that team go? Were we that wrong in training camp? And then here they are. They walked right in the door.
Now, what I'd liked from the people that we talked to on the post-game TV show, and it could be just talk, because there's been a lot of just talk going around.
Absolutely, yeah.
That was good. That didn't mean anything unless we do it again.
Right.
And we have to go do it again. We haven't proved anything. And so,
absolutely.
But you'd rather go to Philadelphia with everything on the line now there after this game than after the last couple of weeks.
They will officially not
Shout
flex next week's game, so that will remain 3:25 kick. And, of course, you can hear the broadcast with Brad Shand, Babe Loft, and Burke Christie Scales. Starting at 3:30, the pregame show, of course, preceding that. We'll talk to you next week from Lincoln Financial Field, Brad.
Look forward to it.
Mickey, thank you, buddy.
Okay, and Dak's last words were when they said, can you do this again next week? He said, we got to be better. We don't want to go there and replicate this. We want to be better.
50 points, then.
All right, that sounds good.
Cowboys win 44-21.
All right, they're finna go to commercial break. So from what I picked up from there, at first I thought that it was only Brad Shand, but it was also Mickey and as well as Brad. So they great feedback from those two guys as they look at this game. We still had to show the world what we are next week and the battle of the NFC East. It seems like it was a storybook made already by the NFL for it to look like this. And so far, like you said, it's no flex game. So we will be ready right here at the same moment, at the same spot, looking to see what we're going to do and listening in from all of the Eagles fans throughout the world and see if they're going to keep that same energy, right? It's one of those things, too, Cowboy Nation, as you got to break out the mask next Sunday, Elijah. Yes, I'm going to break it out next Sunday. Yes, indeed. I think my little daughter, she went and got the mask and ran off with it. But victory is victory, Cowboy Nation. I'm going to listen to some more of them, and we'll take some phone calls. Let me know if you guys want to do that. And so far, so much, everything looking pretty good for us. As my guy Voch Lombardi says, the water should taste good, and we should enjoy this victory. No negative talk until tomorrow. We can start looking back and saying and looking back and looking at this first game when we played the Eagles and see if we can replicate that, okay? And I'm going to try to keep all of the negative energy away from Cowboys Nation. And whatever we did this day, continue to do it all this week. If you wore your lucky socks, wear that. You see, whatever you did, I believe in all of those little small things, believe it or not. And and hopefully we can get things going in the right direction, Cowboy Nation. Appreciate you, Devon. He says, go Cowboys. That's what we want to see. Classic reaction. What's good? Boys are going to smash the Eagles. Yes. We should show up and show out and be ready to play against those Eagles, And they secondary is scary, not in a good way. I think that they subject to the double moves. We can take the top off the defense with all type of wide receivers. I think that this will be another game, believe it or not, whereas our wide receivers have a good showcasing, depending on the weather, And this still should be a good game, whereas we can still see from Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott and company. So those guys should show up and show out and be ready. Yeah, so those guys should show out and be ready. Where's Vonch? And I need my war call. Born to gamer. Well, we don't have no war calls, but I don't know if Vonch live on his deal, man. If he is, tell him you need to hear that war call. You need to hear that battle cry. But I can play you a little of this right here. Yes, Cowboy Nation. This is what we should be feeling. War, back against the wall. Everybody want to get rid of this guy, including me. Everybody want to get rid of that guy, including me. But now, this is the victory that we want to see. Yes, let's go. Everybody must be able to see this type of football action going on right now. I want to see some fire in the comment box. That's what we want to see. We want to see that, Cowboy Nation. Let's continue to grind. Let's continue to shine, Cowboy Nation. Everybody knows how this thing go. Play my music. Yeah. Shout out to Sean Lee, baby. What we tell him? That's what I'm talking about. I see the fire.
Yes. This is Sparta!
Yes. What we tell him again?
This is Sparta!
Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's go. What? Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's go. Let's go.
For station identification.
I know y'all feeling it. I know you're going to see one of those Cowboys haters, huh? What you going to tell those Cowboys haters when you see them now? Yes. Stephen A. Smith just lost 2 inches off his hairline. Yes. Shannon Sharp. He's going to lose his hairline before it's over with. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
This is Sparta!
Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's go. Shout out to Sean Lee. Shout out to my guy, Jordan Hip Pocket Lewis, for doing his thing today.
And I think depending on tiebreakers, we'd have to see. Rams and Vikings haven't played this year, so it'd be interesting to see how it works out. But the Vikings have 10 wins already. The Seahawks are in with 11 wins. So the only team that's really left to be decided, the only things that are left to be decided in the NFC is who wins the NFC East, and then can the Rams catch the Vikings for that final wild card spot. But the Cowboys still obviously very much alive, and this will be decided next week when the Cowboys and Eagles play at Lincoln Financial Field at 3:30 next week, which you can hear right here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Let me ask you something, Broadus, though, because there's some subtext here to this game.
Sure.
And we were talking about a little bit last segment with Mickey Spagnola and Brad Sham, and that was the running game, the effectiveness of the running game.
Yeah.
And this has obviously been a major talking point when it comes to the way we analyze and discuss the Dallas Cowboys, the importance of the running game, the importance of the Cowboys running game to their overall success. You mentioned they just seem to finish. They play differently when they can effectively run the football.
They do. And, you watch. And I'm one of these guys that always get in arguments with people about throwing the football. And I'm the old crusty scout guy that comes on the radio and, you got to run it, you got to run it. And I understand throwing the football is good. I get it. And if you have a quarterback like Dak Prescott that has the capability of throwing, you have wide receivers and tight ends that can catch it and stuff. But there's something to about when you get to what happened tonight. It was just a different tone offensively for the Cowboys because they were able to. There was the balance there. They were able to run whether it was first down, second down. Heck, there were some third down runs that they said, hey, Ezekiel on a second down run gets 7 yards, make it a 3rd and 1. When you have that capability of lining up and physically moving somebody, and that's really the difference with his team because, I love Dak Prescott throwing the football, but I always like his stat line too when it's, it's like 20 of 29, 21 of 29, 251 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then, Ezekiel Elliott has another 140 yards in the game and stuff like that. And then, it just seems to help. And look what happened tonight, though. When the ability for them to get a lead and hold on to a lead and then run the football helped their defense. There weren't those 3 and outs. Remember we seen last. Rob, they have a great drive, 17 play drive for a 75-yard score touchdown, and then they go 3 and out like 4 times in a row. If you look at what happened in this game, it was like 4 straight possessions where they had a touchdown. After a punt. So. Yeah, these are the types of things, and a lot of it had to do with what Elliott was able to do, the physicality, which the line, the backs, and give Pollard a lot of credit, too, for his ability to finish on some of these runs.
And look, I'm at the other end of the spectrum.
I don't disagree with you guys, by the way. I mean, there was a time where I would fight you, like tooth and nail, about throwing the football. Because I didn't feel like that Dak Prescott was ready to throw the football.
And that's a great point. It's not necessarily about what's the strategy. It's who is the guy
who's
quarterbacking that strategy.
Who is quarterbacking the strategy, and then how are you able to move the football? Can you move it the other way? And it looks like to me, even in these losses, we've seen Ezekiel Elliott have 71, 75, 80 yards. But they get out of it because all of a sudden they're 21 points down, or they're having to scramble back, and then it turns into Dak Prescott having a Jared Goff night where he's throwing it 33 times for or 51 times for 30, and you're like going, okay, did Jared Goff really play well in this football game? No,
33 of 51 for
and that's an L.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's an L right there for them. And so if you're throwing the ball that much, you're probably going to lose a football game.
Yeah. And look, I think it seems pretty simple. You go into a game with a certain approach and what you think they're going to do to you, but if they don't do that to you and you can run the ball effectively, then continue to run the ball. It kind of comes down to adjust your game plan to what the defense is doing to you, and if they allow you the opportunity, afford you the opportunity to throw the football, throw it. And if they afford you the opportunity to run the football, run the football.
Yeah, I really give the offensive coaches a lot of credit, the Cowboys coaches, for the way they were able to scheme the Rams. Again, I think they thought they gave the Rams a little bit of the dose of their own medicine the way they've been playing. But it really, the defense, and much maligned in the way. I mean, the yards are there, the scoring defense. I mean, 7th best scoring defense the last 8 weeks. And you're kind of thinking, what? Really? And this is one of those things where you wonder why you're 6-7, now 7-7. But this is what this team is capable of playing, and that's why it's got everybody so perplexed about, okay, why are they so bad when they have a 1,000-yard runner, a 4,000-yard quarterback, a 1,000-yard receiver, and then, but you say, well, defensively, they haven't tackled well, they haven't got off the field enough on 3rd down, and they haven't created enough turnovers. So, yeah, those are the things. They're capable of playing good football like we saw tonight against a really good football team, in my opinion.
You can call us or text us at 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. Also, we'll hear what Sean Lee had to say after this one, Sean. Kai Forbath, Blake Jarwin. And how about Tony Pollard? You mentioned him as we talk about the running game. Tony Pollard, 12 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown. And here's what he said to Chris Arnold after the Cowboys win 44-21.
TP, I don't know if you realize this, but you had 130 yards rushing, 12 yards catching, and a touchdown. How good did it feel to be out there doing what you did?
I mean, it was good just being out there, but just getting the win. That was the biggest part of it. Just us coming out here and winning and breaking the little slump that we were in.
Could you describe your touchdown run?
It really was set up for me to score. Like it was already open. I just had to hit it. And once I got through the hole, got through the the O-line, I just used my God-given speed and just ran.
Zeke always liked to look at you like his little brother. He really likes it when you have a nice game. He was just really talking really nice things about you. Could you talk about the fact that you guys compliment each other so well?
Yeah, I mean it's just hard on defense. You got one back that's running the ball very well, and then you got another back coming in right after. Our styles are completely different, so it's just something hard that the defenses have to adjust to.
And finally, how does it feel to have a complete victory? All three sides of the ball did well.
I mean, it's just great, especially this time of the year. This is what our team needed, just moving in the right direction. So, yeah, just to break that little slump, it was a good win for us.
All right. Congratulations, Tony Pollard.
There's Tony Pollard, Chris Arnold right here on the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. 12 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. Obviously the best performance of Tony Pollard's career.
Shout out to JD for the donation to help grow the nation.
Yeah, both victories, right? I mean, the Dolphins, I think, was the last time he did it. But, yeah, see, this is what we've talked about all year. This is where, the Cowboy Nation, the Tolos out there, everybody listening around the country, around the world, wherever, to me, this is – why is it taken? Why can't they not get him more involved? Why can't they not do things, you see the explosiveness he has. You see when you get him the ball in space, what he's capable of doing. And it just seems like he's been much maligned because we're kind of talking about, well, he wasn't deep enough in New England. He didn't do this on the kickoff return. Why did he let the ball, everything was kind of like, there should be more positives because this guy is capable of doing that. And I think that's the thing that bothers me the most about this season is, have you taken advantage fully of everybody that dresses for you on game days? I think that's some of the questions that you might need to ask.
Brian Broadasari, Temkin. Cowboys win. They improved to 7-7 on the season and 7-0, scoring at least 30 points, 44-21 over the Rams. Post-game show brought to you by Susan G. Komen. Learn how the Dallas...
Yes, indeed. Post-game provided to you guys by Law Nation and also 105.3 The Fan. Really appreciate you all. Let's continue to grind.
Season is upon.
They on commercial break. All right, so I got about another 15 to maybe 30 minutes with you all. I can't go all the way long tonight, but I really appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in to the nation. Good victory, man. Really good victory. Really appreciate you all. Let's stack these wins on top of each other, and let's continue to stack these things together. Let me see what I could do here. Phone lines are now open, 682-214-4087. Just try to keep it down to maybe 1 to 2 minutes, and we can talk about this thing. Really appreciate you all, though. A win is a win is a win. We just got to figure out how to win not tomorrow, but next week. We got to figure out a way to win. I'm already thinking about tomorrow, but we got to figure out a ways to win. That's the name of the game. 682-214-4087 is the phone number. Give me a call. Give me a buzz. Let me know what's on your mind, how you feel. Do you want to keep Jason Garrett? Do you want to get rid of Jason Garrett? Do you think the defense done turned the corner? They finally blitzed John Lee. They had a blitz from my guy Jordan Hip Pocket Lewis. He broke up some crucial passes there. Also, we saw the INT. 916, what's on your mind? 916, what's good?
Hey, what's going on, Law? Just wanted to say thanks for the live stream on Instagram, man. I've been able to watch all the Cowboys games because of you.
Oh, my goodness, man. I really appreciate it. I thought nobody was watching that.
No, it's like, you kept having to drop it every now and then, but getting to jump back on and watch it and everything. That was great. Lost cable this year, so
oh my goodness,
able to watch it because of you.
Oh, man, that's a blessing that I'm able to help everyone out that especially don't have access to watch those games. I'm from Mississippi, and normally they don't play the Dallas Cowboys game. They'll play the Atlanta Falcons. They'll play the Saints game or what have you because of, I guess, location. And I used to figure out ways to watch the Cowboys game. So I'm glad I'm able to help those that really want to get a chance to see the game. And it's still up right now for those who want to just see some of the game, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we got that win today. That was amazing.
Yeah, a week that we don't have to get bashed, man, because the media love to bash us, man. And it's just one of those things that now we can look at it next week and say, okay, can we stack wins on top of each other now?
Absolutely. I hated, Monday mornings having to listen, and Shannon Sharp, bashed the crap out of Dak. Like every loss is his fault,
Yeah, and I don't watch not 105.3 The Fan. I don't watch the Shannon Sharps of the worlds and the what's the other show, First Take or what have you. I don't watch them live or what have you, but I get so many clips sent to me about what they said that I have no choice but to, I guess, respond to what their reactions are, you see. And that's what we've been doing for all of these years. When we lose, we have to respond and say, no, this is not the case. No, this is not the scenario. But a win is a win right now.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, though, Law. You take care, man.
You as well. Salute, bro.
Later.
That's a good call for the 916-682-214-4087 is the number to the nation. Let me know what's on your mind. 337, what's good?
Hey, man, just wanted to tell you, man, look, once again, man, salute to you. This your boy, DJ Mixology. You know how I do it.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, yeah, it was a great victory, but I like what Dak Prescott said, that that's a leader. He said we got to do better. We got to be better, because I saw a lot of plays that we on defense, like little plays that we let the Rams running back. You know this guy is Gurley is a big part of the Rams offense, and he shouldn't be left alone. So. There was a lot of miscues on their part too that helped our defense out. On offense, once again, me and you, we talked about Tony Pollard earlier this season, before the season started, and I told you, this kid, he's the real deal. I just pray that he stays solid and healthy, and he can just put just a tad bit more weight on him and still keep his speed, but
I don't know about the weight, though, because remember, we love everything that we was able to see out of Felix Jones. Remember him? And
yeah,
he looked like David Chappelle. Then all of a sudden, the next year, he looked like a little bowling ball. But he still had some of the speed, but he lost the elusiveness, though.
Yeah.
And I was like,
right.
he didn't look good for us, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying, like, overall, like, 20, 30, no, we talking about like maybe another 5 pounds or more. Yeah, we're not talking about nothing too drastic, just a little bit more weight.
But you do remember that, though, right? The Felix Jones, he was good for us that first year, in the second, but then all of a sudden
he blew up like a balloon. Yep, you're right on about that. But overall, like I said, and when we last talked, Cowboy Nation, don't give up. Our team is still young. And I do believe if we had a couple of more people that were in that locker room that were actually not afraid to speak out, that can take some of these guys and coach them up, because the mistakes that are being made, you just can't clap when they come on the sideline. You have to point out, hey, look, that was great, but look, this man was open, and we need that. We need that focus like that urgency, So, but definitely, man, shout out to you. You keep doing what you're doing, putting out good content and everything. Salute to you, man, Law Nation.
Salute to you, my brother. Salute.
All right.
Good call, man. Good call. 682-214-4087. Y'all remember Felix Jones, right? But, I feel what he's saying. He wants some durability with Tony Pollard. But Tony Pollard, although, like, when you see him in person, he looks like a wide receiver, but he's stacked, though. 9-10, what's good?
Yo, Law.
Yeah, what's good with you, man? How you living? How you feel today?
Hey, I'm not even a Dallas Cowboys fan. I just like your show, man.
Oh, my goodness. That's good, man. Who's your team?
Oh, man. Hey, the Panthers, man. I'm shaking my head. The Panthers are my team, man. I'm disappointed, man.
Well, y'all got rid of your coach.
I'm waiting on the draft.
You got rid of your coach. You're waiting on the draft, so you're going to be picking anywhere from between, 5, 6, 7?
9, 9th or 7 by 7th or 10th, somewhere in that range.
And they got some good picks this year, boy. And you won't Chase Young. But I think Chase Young, he went back. He's going to go back, right? What do y'all need on your team? Defense, offense? Y'all offense looking good, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our defense can't stop a nosebleed. We can't stop the run. So we need we need O-line and we need the D-line. We need, that's, we need, I would say we need the D-line the most.
D-line.
That's all we need.
Yes,
yeah. But yeah, man, I just called, because I watch the show, and You know, I don't know. I just like your show, man. Like,
But
I don't even know how I found your show.
Well, I really appreciate you for calling in. So from you, objectively speaking, from the outside looking in, what do you see the Dallas Cowboys need to improve in? Because now this is going to be a total unbiased question there, because you from the outside looking in, you had nothing to gain from it. So how do you feel about this Dallas Cowboys team? You think we can go on a run, or would you pay Dak? What are your thoughts?
Man. I think they will win the division by default because the Philadelphia Eagles, they just banged up. They don't have no wide receiver. I don't even know who Carson Wentz is throwing the ball to. And the Redskins are the Redskins. The Giants, they're terrible. Okay. So I think they'll win the division by default. And, as far as what do I think the Cowboys' weakness is, what they need to.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Jerry Jones is the problem. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Because with him, he seems like he likes those like what do y'all call Jason Garrett, the clapper?
Right, the clapper.
I call him the clapper.
Mm-hmm. Coach
yeah,
Ray.
I mean, okay, yeah, okay. I want to say Garrett is the weakness, but I'm gonna go with Jerry Jones because he likes to hire these called yes men. He's kind of like Michael Jordan. He wants guys to always kind of do what he wants and always agree with him. So I'm gonna say Jerry Jones. And as far as Dak, I feel like Dak should have took. How much were they offering him in the offseason? Was it like 30 mil?
We would never know. It has been undisclosed, so we don't know at this point. It could have been 25 for all we know, but yeah. But it is what it is. I think that he should get some type of paper because he just beat Goff, who got paid 33, and he beat Carson Wentz, who got 32 million or something like that, or something. Well, those numbers could be, vice versa. But it is what it is at this point. I think that he should get his money though. It should be anywhere between 33 and 34 million.
Okay, I got one question for you.
Go ahead, fam, because I know I took up some of your time talking about those Panthers, but go ahead.
Okay, what do you think Jason Garrett needs to do to keep his job, and what do you think will happen for him to get fired? What needs to happen for him to get fired, and what needs to happen for him to keep the job?
It's plain and simple. He had to win multiple playoff games. It's been 2 playoff games in 10 years, and that's not a good thing on anybody's resume. And he got to get multiple playoff wins and victories to keep his job. And if he don't do that, then he's fired.
Okay, so right now they're a wild card team. So if they don't reach the NFC Championship game, he's gone.
Yep, just like Riverboat Ron, he gonna be running on out of there. He might coach your team next year. But man, I really appreciate you. I appreciate you for calling in, fam. Salute to your team, and let's continue to grind. Salute.
Okay. All right. I'll let you.
All right. Peace. From the 9-10. That was a 9-10. Not even a Cowboys, Silver and Blue Nation follower, but he followed the Law Nation. I really appreciate him. Lawrence Campbell, that's on my Facebook panel, man. Really appreciate you for tuning in. Marvin, really appreciate you. And Tavares Peel, man, I really appreciate you as well for tuning in to the nation. Devon, shout out to you. Jason Garrett is in the chat box, man. He says, I'm a winner. The Super Bowl is what I'm talking about. That's okay. That's what I'm talking about. We love the positive vibe. 682-214-4087. That's the phone line. Call in if you have the time. Let's get this thing going. Buffalo score versus Pittsburgh Steelers 7-3. I think Cole Beasley caught him a touchdown pass, today. So that's pretty good for Cole Beasley. Who else we have over here? What a waste of a first division. Shout out to you, Rue. Shout out to you, man. Good jumping point. Good win. Yes, my Cowboys family. Y'all follow them as well. They got some great content out there for the nation. He follows Mark Home as well. Yes, shout out to him. Cowboys 909. Really appreciate you all. All right, so here's the thing. Donald, says, Law, how about those boys? Yes. Tyrone says, Law, love this win. Man, this is a win that we can look at, and we got to look at it from these parameters. If we can finally stack wins on wins, meaning that we beat the Rams and then we look at the Eagles and we find a way to beat the Eagles, that momentum can shift, and now we can have a momentum heading into the playoff. We will be the team that's hot. The other teams can be backpedaling into the playoff, and anything can happen from there, right? So that's how we can look at this thing, Cowboy Nation. That's how I can see that this team can move it all the way down. Now, will it be easy? No. This will be an uphill battle. We have to fight. We have to earn every situation, and we have to figure out these things one way or another, Cowboy Nation. That's the reality of it. All right, so let me see what I can do here. We've been live for about an hour and 30 minutes. One more call, and we're going to shut it down. You got at least 2 more minutes to call in. If not, I'm going to shut it all the way down. There we go. There go my call. Let me see if I can go back over here. 469, what's on your mind?
Oh, man. We in the field, and we live like 95.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, baby. Hold on. I got to say this real quick. But for everybody tuning in to Law Nation, did y'all just hear that last call?
Mm-hmm.
The last 2 calls. Mm-hmm. First off, we got people who not even Cowboys fans tuned into the nation.
Oh, yeah.
And on top of that, we got people who are in markets who can't see the Cowboys, who, because of Law Nation, get to see their team and America's team. That lets you know right there. Not only is America's team, are the Cowboys America's team, will be America's team, always will be America's team, but Law Nation is the nation.
Oh, my goodness.
And we got to do everything we can to keep growing the nation. I just got to take my hat off. I got to take my do-rag off. I got to take a knee to the presence of the nation because, brother, you were doing something so phenomenal. And I remember when it started, it was just a few of us. You see what I'm saying? And now look at how far you've reached, man. Like, this is phenomenal. What you have done, what you have grown to. You get us inside intel that, sometimes Brian Broaddus and Mickey and Nick Eatman and them don't even give us, man. So, man, I gotta salute to you, brother. You have sojourned, you have trailblazed, and you have made the nation, Law Nation, what it is. And it's an honor to be a part of it, man. It's an honor to be a part of it. I really mean that.
Man, you put a smile on my face, man. It makes my teeth white, man, when you talk all of those love and adulations, man. For the nation, too, because it's not about me, believe it or not. It's about you all that's pumping this thing up, and then I can look back and say, man, this is what I started off by first doing YouTube videos and doing what I did on Instagram, and then YouTube like, nah, you can't do that no more, But
yeah.
But this is the reality. I never thought about doing this until I was talking over it, and somebody said, "Hey, man, you got a good voice, man." I understood the game better now, and then all of a sudden I said, "You know what? Let me just do this thing." Went and bought a mic, went and bought a camera. You see, and now we here.
Yeah.
So it's possible for anybody to do this. It's nothing special, but I really, really appreciate you for giving me those love and adulations, man. For the nation.
Yeah, hey man, it's an honor. The one thing I wanted to say, I had a question about it. So as far as our game next week, how big is this game next week on the scale and the weight of our season? Could you talk to us about that?
No, it's just not for the scale and the weight for the season. This is a scale of a weight for the franchise, you see, because I look at it like the Philadelphia Eagles. although they haven't beaten us in, 5 or 6 games, they do a lot of talking, right? And they say, well, we haven't won the Super Bowl since people was babies, and some people not even been born yet since the last time we won a Super Bowl, and we only have 2 playoff victories. We know how that talk can go. And remember, I recall in the earlier part of the season, the Eagles beat the Packers, and they was yelling out, Dallas suck, Dallas suck. So to me personally, the Eagles got strong neck muscles because they continue to look up. They want to feel the taste and taste the glory of the Dallas Cowboys. And at any chance, they like the adversary. They try to pull us down to their level, you see. At the end of the day, they still looking up. It's like a candlelight to the sun. It's no comparison because we are 2 separate entities. We are still the Dallas Cowboys, the America's team. They might got the Eagles, the bird. Of course, that's the America's bird for crying out loud. But it's nothing comparable to this star that's on my head. You see what I'm saying? And we are the true team because we inspired them for once. And they got their Super Bowl, cool. What they want, a cookie? They got rid of the only quarterback that won them their Super Bowl. And they thinking that they can get that same results with Carson Wentz. And all I see is they talking to Carson Wentz is supposed to be this guy that can galvanize this and that. Nah, he's going to be a guy that's going to fold up like a lawn chair come Sunday. You can book that.
That's right, because we got barbecue Antoine Woods, aka the Human Log.
Yeah,
we got him back. We got a vintage Sean Lee sighting. You know, old man Wick. You know, sighting. I mean, they really turned it on. I'm excited for what they're going to do coming up this week, tomorrow. What the mindset is going to be like. They got to keep this energy. They got to keep this thunder. But I got kids in the background.
No, it's all good, man. That's a blessing. That means you growing the nation over there. That's what I'm talking about.
The next generation of the nation, baby.
Yes,
that's right.
Indeed.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say, man. I really appreciate it. We got hey, nation. We got to keep growing the nation. I just got to say this. The content is too good. The commentary is too good. The analysis are so good intel. There's no reason why the nation can't rival with Undisputed, with First Take, with even with the fan if you're in the Dallas local market. And it's going to be the donations that help grow the nation that's going to get us there. And when it blow up, you're going to know, hey, I helped build that empire. So let's reach into our digital pockets. Let's give. Let's keep supporting our brother. Let's keep getting great content. And next thing you'll know, we'll see Law Nation up there with the names, if you're familiar with Dallas sports, Norm Hiskins, and the Brian Broderses, and the Gavin Dawsons, and the Gavin Spillers, and if you're familiar. All right?
Yes,
that's all I got to say. And you got to give us a sign out before we go.
And remember, you all are listening in to nothing but the Bass. Salute. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. All right. Well, salute.
Peace, bro. Appreciate it.
All right.
Man, for that caller giving us all of that love, man. Boy, 409. What's on your mind, 409?
What's up?
It's your world, man. Talk to me.
Yeah, what's up, Loud? It's your boy Jay Chambers from Port Arthur, Texas. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, turn your radio down just a little bit that's in the background so we won't hear that echo reverb.
All right. Yeah, this your boy Jay Chambers from Port Arthur, Texas, man. Been listening to you for about 2 years now. You know what I'm saying? I just
appreciate it.
Want to go ahead and give you a call, man, let you know we appreciate you, you know what I'm saying? We appreciate what you're doing for the nation. And also, I want to also say this is what I think makes us Cowboys fans kind of cringe a little bit because we know what our team is. We know what they are. You know what I'm saying? I also feel as though that maybe that film that old Jason Garrett or Stephen Jones showed, maybe that did help a little bit because they played like they were capable of playing tonight. And that's just what made me just excited. I'm excited about the rest of these games, and I feel like we can do something.
Yes, indeed, man. We just stacked these things together. Like I said, that highlight reel was something that we all need to see. If the Cowboys play like that, man, they need to cut us a copy and let us see some of that, because this team played inspired and they was ready. And I think Sean Lee said, you know what, I'm going to take this ball away. I'm going to sit there and watch it, you know. And Jordan Lewis said, you know what, I'm going to make sure the quarterback can feel my shoulder when I come in for that blitz action, you see. And Antoine Barbecue Woods, he said, look, man, hey, I had my name all in the news last week. Let me just show the world that I am the enforcer on their front four, you see. So that's what I like to see, and that's the type of work action that we love to see, and they played inspired.
Yes, sir. And you said something very important. That boy, Barbecue Woods right there in the middle, man, that made a big difference. You've seen on that defense tonight. That boy is something serious, you know. And we need him to stay healthy. We need him to keep his mind right, you know what I'm saying? Because we're going to need him down the stretch. And Jordan Lewis, oh, my goodness. That's not I don't even have to get on that. Everybody
sacks, 2 interceptions for the season, I believe, something like that. I mean, the kid is showing that he worth every penny. So we need to lock him up as well.
Yes, sir. We need to go ahead and keep him in there. But, man, Law Nation, I'm just letting you know, I'm keep listening. I'm always listening. You might see me on there as Jay Chambers, a.k.a. Cowboys. I'm always on your page, always looking. But, man, you keep it up, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm following you 100%.
10-4, man. Really appreciate you, 409, man. Shout out to you. Salute.
All righty, then. You take it easy.
Yes, indeed, man. Good caller, man. Good caller. I had a few people to call in. If you get that voicemail, just leave one and I can review it from there. Really appreciate you all. This is not even possible without you all. 209, man. What's good? What's on your mind? 209. Call back. All right, so Cowboy Nation, I'm going to find me some food to eat. I smell the aroma. It smells so good. It's messing with my mind. I can't even put words together. I'm going to grab me something to eat so I won't disappear. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you guys don't want me to disappear, right? So I really appreciate you all. Go eat me a good old meal. Been up since 4 o'clock. I just shut off the phone line. So, we got one more call then. All right, 209. You the last caller of tonight. Talk to me.
Law Nation, what's up, brother? This is your 209 Cowboy brother out here.
You just turn your radio down. Turn your radio down. To turn it down just a little bit.
That's actually the TV.
Oh, no worries, no worries. What's good though?
You want to say anything? All right. Yeah, man. So I just wanted to say, you know, it looks like we are heading. Honestly, the Eagles. I mean, I'm not going to look past them, but just the way they playing, man, I just really don't see them as a factor. I mean, if we don't beat them, I mean, of course, we don't deserve to be playing nothing else anyway. So, with that being said, which team out of the Seahawks and the Niners would you rather face first in order to propel us into a further deeper run in the NFL? That's first, and then second. Do you see us, you know, continuing to grow, or do you think this is one of those duds? And I hang up and you can answer, brother. Love you, man. God bless.
Amen. Amen. Love you too, man. Here's the thing. I look at this organization and I see that all of those teams, I can't stand them. All of the teams that's in the playoff, and let me go one by one. The 49ers, I can't stand the 49ers, especially since 1994. I still say that Deion Sanders PI'd my guy Michael Irvin. I would never get over it, you know. I cried real tears in that year, 94. And then for us to ultimately get Deion Sanders the next year, I was like, I can't stand the dude because he was like the prima donna and these sorts of things, right? And I can't stand him. So I would rather face the 49ers week 1 of the playoff, what have you. And I would rather for us to get, I want this whole tour to be a revenge tour. Think about it. I can't stand the 49ers, and I definitely can't stand the Seattle Seahawks. I call them Sea Chickens because they did what they did for my guy Tony Romo. And then on top of that, look, the craziest thing about the Seattle Seahawks, this is how crazy the Seattle Seahawks are. You remember in 2006, right? The bobble, botch, fumble, what have you. Boy, boy, I cried real tears in 2006. And I can't get over the fact that all we had to do is hold the ball, but they put that slippery ball, and the kicker and Tony Romo couldn't hold on to the ball situation. It got me some mental issues since that day, right? And I can't stand the Seattle Seahawks, you know. And especially, it's crazy. The spotlight was on Tony Romo for that year, and he bobbled a snap or what have you, and it ended it for him. And for us to fast forward to 2016, the same team, this is how crazy that is, the same team that ended Tony Romo's little run in 2006, ended his career basically. You see? Wow. How did that go? How that connects, and how that mess up with my mental and all of these sorts of things? I'm just being transparent to everybody right now. All right, so if we talk about the Green Bay Packers, I can't stand the Green Bay Packers catch no catch situation, and of course, the Green Bay took us out of our miseries in 2016 too. So it's just been one of those things that I can't stand. None of these teams that's in the playoffs. So I want this tour to be a revenge tour. And it would be just the icing on the cake if we can go through the hardest level of beating these teams and get to the Super Bowl and beat that team, whatever who we play in the Super Bowl. It'll be like the sweetest joy. You see what I'm saying?
Well, well, just like I'm here in Stockton. It's like an hour and a half from San Francisco, so it's 49er fans driving all around the city.
Right.
So I'm with you on that right there. But man, I appreciate you, man. Like the caller before was saying, like honestly, like you construct our team, but at the same time, you always bring a positive vibe and you give us hope. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, don't nobody want to hear nothing about football after the Cowboys lose. Period. Right. But but it's like you want to go to Brian Broaddus and them, and they being negative, and they supposed to be able to paint a picture to be able to help us out a little bit, man. But you do a great job, man. So I appreciate you. Man, keep doing what you're doing, brother, and I will support you however I can.
Most certainly, man. I really appreciate you. Thanks for calling in to the nation, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Salute.
Bye.
That's a good call, man, from the 209. Reminds me of a story of Joseph, right? He had this vision. He spoke it to his brethren, and they got jealous and upset about it. The brethren that he told the vision to sold him off to slavery, right? For 20 to 25 years, he was struggling, right? And he could have easily gave up. He could have easily folded up. But don't you guys know that in that time of being captive in prison or in slavery, he was upset. He was angry. He was really, really mad at his brethren. And how I tie this thing into the Cowboys nation is that for over 25 years, going on 25 years, we've been into that same state. Whereas we can't get out of this bondage. We've been trapped in a sense. And we get mad and we get frustrated at each other. But in the realities of this world, right, there's still a positive situation. What he said was never a lie. It was all truth. He had to go through that hard spell for all of those years. And guess what? At the end, when he came out, he was victorious. And his brethren did exactly what he told them that they were going to do. But they had to prove it, right? They had to prove it. And the reason why I say that they had to prove it is that when you do some people wrong, they're not able to recognize you, right? But you are able to recognize them. Joseph was able to recognize them. They couldn't recognize him at all. What I'm trying to say, Cowboy Nation, is that we can recognize what's going on with this organization. We can recognize the pitfalls and the miseries and the shambles and all of these things. But however, what keep us going is knowing that we have a little hope. And I always say, if there's hope in the future, there's power in the presence. And right now, Cowboy Nation, we got extremely power right now. And we just got to stack these wins on top of each other. Let's continue to grind, Cowboy Nation. Let's find this way to just shake this dirt off and stand on top of it. And then we can look back and we can say we are the ones that's victorious, right? Let's climb up out of this prison that we are in. Let's stand tall. Cowboy Nation, I really appreciate you all. That's been my time. I told you I was going to take you out of church a little bit. Just a little bit. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. I'm out. And you know what the craziest part about that story? It's in the book of Genesis, man, if you read that. He says, for it was not you, the brethren, who sold me into slavery. It was not you. It was God. Huh? I suffered so you all wouldn't have to suffer, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's reality. Huh? Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I suffered so you won't have to suffer. A remnant of blessings. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let me see some fire emojis in the box. Let's go. Let's go. One day at a time, one movement at a time, brick by brick. Let's go. They say, keep your head high, keep swinging blows, right? You got a puncher's chance, even when we get hit in the jaw. We say, we shake that off. Let's go. 4 more. Yes, Rue. I see you, Rue. Let me give a shout out to Rue right quick. Let me give a shout out to Rue, man. He been grinding over here. When you grind like that, you see, you gotta make him one of those. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Y'all know what time it is, baby. Y'all know what time it is, right? Yeah. Yeah. Food is here. Y'all know what time it is, right? Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is Sparta!
Let's go! Victory mass, baby! Go! One day at a time, one movement at a time. Let's continue to grind, baby. Appreciate the donation to help grow the nation, baby. Yes. All right, Cowboy Nation. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time and your peace and your sleep for it, if all of your desires of it makes you quite mad enough that you don't get tired of it, and it makes you hold all other things tawny and cheap for it, if life itself seems empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and dream is about it, if you'll gladly go out and sweat for it and fret for it and lose all terror of God or man for it, if you will simply go after the thing you want with all of your capacity, strength, and scarcity, with faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity. If neither fame, cold, or poverty can slow you down, I'm going to tell you this, Cowboy Nation. Let's pick our head up and let's go get this trophy. Yes. Yes. Right. It's been my time. Go. Let's go.